My guest today is, as I told him, he's one of my algorithmic leading men.
You need to be bored. You will have less meaning and you will be more depressed if you never are bored.
He's up there with Scott Galloway and
the wrong decision is bad. No decision is worse. Don't get paralyzed.
Sam Harris.
Meditation.
Who else on my algorithm?
We're all kind of the same guy, you know.
Theo Vaughn.
I think they should have word limits on spouses.
He's on my algo. I'll get a lot of NBA stuff. Who's on my... Gilbert Arenas is huge.
I was manscaping.
Cameron is the king of my algorithm. You wouldn't know about nothing about Cameron.
It's like if you watch National Geographics and you see the hyenas.
He's an author. He's a professor. He studies happiness, guys. So it's all been leading up to this. Finally, some actionable advice instead of this constant fucking complaining that happens on this podcast. He's got a book, The Meaning of Your Life. He's got a podcast called Office Hours. I just listened to one this afternoon, sent it to my wife. And what was the other book that you were recommending?
In 2022, I wrote a book called From Strength to Strength.
Just From Strength to Strength. He's got that as well.
Yeah.
It's Arthur Brooks, guys. I like to bring them in for the intro. Help me out. I underwrite it, and then they
and
help.
by the way, you're in my algorithm too.
Thank you.
You are. I mean, you show up, and when people say, I don't know why stuff shows up in my algorithm, I don't even like it. Like, young girls are showing up in your algorithms. Mm-hmm. It's because you like them. Mm-hmm. If you don't linger on it, they won't show up in your algorithm.
That's correct. Thanks for lingering. Somebody actually one time, this is like 4 years ago, I was on an elevator, and he goes, he looks at me, he goes, "You're on my algorithm, huh?" Yeah. And I was supposed to go, "Yeah, I'm on there."
Yeah, that's right. I did. That's me.
Yeah, it's me from your algorithm. Okay, here's what I like about you, Arthur, is that you do give actionable advice.
Yeah,
it's not prescriptive, it's suggestive, right?
Stop thinking critically so much about other people. Get more physical exercise. Rebel against your shame.
It's based on studies, right?
Yeah, it's based on the best research and, on neuroscience and behavioral science. And the whole idea is that you can be happier, but you have to understand, you have to change your habits, and you have to share it with others. It's like anything else. Like if you go to medical school, they always say, watch one, do one, teach one, to become a surgeon.
Explain.
So the whole idea is that you watch people do surgery, you do some surgery, you teach people how to do surgery, and you're a surgeon. And the same thing is true with almost anything. You want to golf.
Is that what they do?
That's literally what they do.
So last year med students are teaching?
Last year med students, but in their residency, they're teaching medical school students.
That's interesting.
So, and that's the algorithm. If you want to be a really, really great golfer, you should learn about golf. You should golf a lot, and then you should explain golf. Because when you explain it, you use your brain in a different way. My father was a math professor, and he used to say that the way he really learned math was by deeply understanding it, doing a ton of problems, and most importantly, teaching it to students. And then he truly understood math. Then he was a mathematician. So this is the same thing with happiness. You need to understand the science. You need to commit to certain habits in your life, living differently and propulsively, and then you need to explain it to other people, which is why I'm a teacher, because I want to be happier.
Graph your unhappiness for me. Like what was it?
Well, I'm naturally an unhappy person.
Yeah.
And part of that is because about 50% of happiness can be explained genetically. So the difference between people is about 50% a genetic phenomenon.
Again, that could be such a cause for despair.
It could be, except that
I knew
it's like my mom's fault.
Yeah.
But 50% of alcoholism is also genetic. But if you know your genetic tendency, then you can actually tailor your habits, because your good habits are more important. So, for example, if you have drunks in your family, you shouldn't drink, and that's the habit. That's what it comes down. Are you a teetotaler?
Yeah,
me too. Yeah, me too. And part of the reason is because when I was in my late 30s, I recognized I was going down the same path as people in my family, and it was going to end badly. And so I said, I can turn this genetic tendency to zero with this super esoteric technology called not drinking. Mm-hmm. Incredible. And that's the whole point with your happiness too. Look, if you come from melancholy stock, you got to be better at the techniques. And so,
do you buy buy the I'm Irish, so you go.
Yeah.
I mean, do you buy the sort of...
Brennan is Irish?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Do you buy the genetic or cultural or racial disposition?
Toward alcoholism?
No,
Toward happiness?
toward happiness, toward mood.
Not racial, but because there's no evidence.
Well,
that,
it's like,
that race
I mean,
is
I
it.
guess, so there is none.
None. There's not. There's no difference between the two. There are gender differences in happiness, and part of that is just because there are hormonal differences between men and women. What you find is that when girls are going into adolescence, their negative affect, which is the predominance of the negative mood, skyrockets, and it tends to stay higher than males for the rest of their lives. They have more intense negative affect than men do. And in heterosexual couples, this is something that a lot of men, they can't quite figure out. It's like, why do you feel these negative things so intensely? I mean, it's not that big a deal. So
Yeah, it's my job.
But every and part of the reason is because there are gender differences that actually result in happiness differences between men and women. So women are generally happier, but they have more intense negativity than men do, and those are non-trivial differences in the way that we approach the world. I wind up
That is
explaining
really
things to them.
really interesting because women are happier.
Yeah, they're
and
happier.
they're also
unhappier.
It's-
They're unhappier. So what you find is, and this really comes down to the intensity of the dominance of an intensity of negative and positive emotionality. So women are more likely to be what we call mad scientists, where they have really intense positive emotions and really intense negative emotions, much more than men do typically.
Is it chemical?
Yeah, I mean it has a lot to do with hormone balance, et cetera, but also that is partly genetic as well.
But we should be very clear not to suggest that at any point.
That if you want to get into a huge fight.
Don't suggest that what's happening is what's happening. That's my new ethos. You can know what's happening,
Thank you, Neal.
but you
That's right.
cannot in any way suggest
Folks, life advice you can use if you want to stay
under
early.
no circumstances should you point out the absolutely obvious thing that's happening. You just have to pretend
You've been
it's
married a while, haven't you?
It's just a total coincidence.
Hey, man, I've been married 35 years, in part by not saying things that I've studied as a scientist at home.
I just did it. My girl sent me something, and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry." And then there was a silence,
Yeah.
and it was like I could leap into this silence and
Well, this is one of the
start
things
throwing
that,
haymakers or accusations or hey.
Yeah, no. It's one of the things that actually creates a lot of friction in a lot of marriages is that men who have naturally more muted affect, less intense in the positive and negative, they tend to be more prone less toward the expression of the emotions and more toward solutions. And so one of the biggest mistakes that husbands make is like as soon as their wife says something rotten that's going on at work, they say, okay, here's what you need to do. I say, no, that's not what needs to happen here. She needs to express that because that in and of itself is healing. That's a really important thing that she needs to tell you about it. She doesn't need your explanation for it. And she needs to actually go to the terminus of this expression. She doesn't need you to cut her off and say, okay, go back to your boss and tell it. No. Just let her say it.
You're the perfect person to ask this question, and I've been wondering, and it's not really AI-able. What is the evolutionary explanation for that? Because I always say I say it on stage, I say to my girl, I'm like, when were men supposed to be able to get these capabilities to soothe you?
Right.
It's all new. All this is like 1950. Like things have just calmed down enough to like, okay, how do you feel? It's this hierarchy of needs thing, like emotion. We were just in the factory for 12 hours, and before that we were at the farm for 14 hours. Like, when did all this come? And also the expectation, to me, the expectations that women have of men are not realistic, and because they are real, they're not realistic. But when did they develop?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. There's a couple of things going on there. To begin with, most evolutionary biologists would suggest that women have more intense emotions and are more in touch with their feelings because they are more relational insofar as they have a higher investment in caregiving and the cohesiveness of the kin-based family unit.
So it's like
it
for
has a lot
children,
to do with,
and
it's for children. So it's when I have adult kids and grandkids, and when everybody's
most
around,
of them are in the military, which I still find shocking.
2 of my 3
I'd
kids
like
are
to speak to
Marines,
you about
actually.
that
Yeah.
in a
So when everybody's around, which is on Sundays a lot at our house, and there's friction, my wife knows. She's intensely aware of the emotional ecosystem that's going on around.
She's mad at her a little.
Yeah,
he's
and this
mad
just
at
isn't
him. He
right, and they
seems
didn't say
weird.
hello in the right way.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, I'm like, Men, on the other hand, and according to most evolutionary biologists, and of course everybody watching us, your results may differ. because everybody's different. There's big overlapping distributions between men and women. But
I'm
Neal's like,
shaking
no.
my head.
No,
Not
no,
really.
no.
No, let's be honest.
But men, on the other hand, are less sensitive to that because that's more. I need to actually not be affected very much by my emotions when I'm on the hunt.
Yeah.
When I'm actually, and that's the reason they're super focused and they're able to compartmentalize emotionally in a big way. Something's bothering me, I'm able to put it aside so I can go get that gazelle. And a lot of this is actually reflected in the way that men and women they relate to each other in interesting ways. One of the things that you find is the main need that most men have and most women have in their marriage. Women fundamentally require adoration, which is a sign of commitment. I would fight a tiger for you and only you, baby, with my hands. Because you're everything to me. That sense of adoration. Why?
But that level of aggression that I would have to summon to fight the tiger, I will easily put away when you need soothing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I'll make you an herbal tea.
No, I know. That's the thing. Like, I have to be able to summon that immediately.
But if you're going to have the confidence that your partner is going to hang around while you have children and support you and your children, you need that commitment to be demonstrated in a particular way, and adoration is the way that's demonstrated. Men, on the other hand,
that's fascinating.
Men, on the other hand, need admiration, and the reason is because they need incentive to actually go out and do those particular things that would in the troglodytic milieu, in the middle Pleistocene, which is what they need to hear from their partners is basically this.
Women need
adoration
and men need
admiration.
Okay.
That is the biggest
adore and admire.
That is the biggest gazelle anybody's ever dragged into this cave. Neal, you are so big and strong. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's going to feed our family for 2 weeks. You're an incredible hunter. That's kind of all we want. That's kind of all we want. It's what it comes down to. Now, the reason people don't understand this, and they're given a lot of bad information, and the reason that a lot of marriages get into trouble is because A, she doesn't admire him, or at least will withdraw admiration as a form of a weapon, and or he doesn't adore her or acts as if he doesn't adore her as a form of a weapon. And that's when you go around and around and around. He doesn't adore her and she doesn't admire him, and down and down and down it goes. So the advice I give guys...
Stop tapping. You're recording my home.
Well, I mean, marriage is marriage, man. There's nothing new under the sun. And so I'll tell a lot of young guys, you want to stay married? My next book is called Falling in Love and Staying in Love. So this is really, really on my mind. It's not going to be out for a couple of years, but boy, is this on my mind. And the way to stay married for guys is be admirable and adore her no matter what you feel. Because adoration is an act. It's not a feeling.
I've learned over the years that the sexually the key is they just want you to be attracted to them. They don't care about technique. Just like how palpably attracted to you or to them are you? The man, just be all the shit you're suppressing.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Yeah, no, 75% of women would prefer to sleep with someone who finds them attractive, but they find unattractive. 75% of men would prefer to sleep with someone that the man finds attractive, even if she doesn't find him attractive. Now, that's not social science, once again, tells you something you already knew.
My favorite one of these is Chris Rock did the joke, 90% of women want to fuck 10% of the guys. He did the joke in 1996.
Yeah.
I think the study came out in 2009.
And now
confirming it.
And now the daily study is called dating apps.
Yeah.
Of that, because you can actually load 90% of the female interest into 10% of the chads, who, by the way, are disproportionately likely to display dark triad characteristics: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. That 10% that are getting all the action are disproportionately likely to be predators.
And by the way, you say the dark triad like it's a bad thing to them.
Well, here's the thing. Dark triads are unbelievably good at being attractive. They're unbelievably good.
Are they
at being attractive.
good at being adoring?
No, they're terrible partners. What they are is
they're good at love bombing, aren't they?
They can get the deal, but they can't keep the deal.
Right. They don't want it.
Well, yeah. I mean, and they will always cheat. They will always betray you. They will always take your money. They will always use you. They're users. And what they're really, really good at is making you think that so there's a neurochemical cascade when you're falling in love with somebody. There's 4 steps neurochemically in order. And women's brains will be going through them, and they'll be perceiving that 10% guy, that high status guy, is going through them as well. He's pretending because he's good at it. And just the fact that you would pretend to be falling in love with somebody to use them makes you psychopathic. Makes you the kind of person who's low in empathy, low in remorse, willing to hurt other people, and all about yourself, which is that dark triad of...
I have a suspicion about dark triad people, born out of a lot of experience, that they like it.
Well, if they like it, if women like it, or
no, that they like being in the dark triad.
Yeah. So if
my father was diagnosed as a narcissist, and it's the only time he called all of us individually, 10 kids, called all of us individually to let us know that he was a narcissist.
So liking it is a fourth characteristic. It makes it called the dark tetrad in social science, and that last one is sadism. So in other words, it's all about me. I'm willing to hurt you. I feel no remorse, and I enjoy it. That's the dark tetrad, and those are the most dangerous people in our society. Those are the people who make the most tyrannical politicians. These are the ones who are the most abusive partners. These are the people who, if they don't have sufficient intelligence, they wind up very, very quickly in jail, right? And they're, will clean the streets are the ones that are not above average intelligence. But the ones who are above average intelligence can really, really ruin our lives. And they're the ones who tend to be performing the most successfully on dating apps right now, because women will be very attracted to them.
What of the 100 wealthiest people? How many of them do you think are dark triad or tetrad?
That's a good question. So it's a good question. So
Arthur, let me save you some time. They're all good questions. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Thank you. Okay.
They're all.
So you sound like I'm like ChatGPT. Neal, that's a very good question that you asked. It's like, would you like to know more about the dark triad?
Basically.
So it's and one way to look at this, and some studies have looked at this, is the people that we think naturally would be like Fortune 500 CEOs, they're not. And the reason is because CEOs have to do business again and again and again and again and again.
Right. And they have to lead.
They have to lead large groups of people, and so they can't afford to do it. What you'll find is that some of the most visionary entrepreneurs who have FU money and power, they can be and often are.
So they're the ones who start, they have the idea, they get the first investors, and then all the investors sour on them, kick them out of the company.
Doesn't matter because they're so brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, they are successful in spite of those characteristics, not because of those characteristics.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now, politicians can be successsul because of those characteristics, because they wield a weapon that people on their side like against their enemies. And so you'll find in a highly polarized, politically polarized and populist environment, like we have on both right and left, you're going to tend to see hardcore populist right-wing and left-wing politicians coming out of the dark triad. Why? And nobody likes bullies. No, but you don't even like bullies on your side, but you sure like what bullies do to your enemies. And so they will use it. So what you'll find is that politically, voters will use dark triads and then throw them away. And that's what ultimately is going to happen in our current environment.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
They like some of it. They like some of it, but it's too,
they'll mess up our country
dark
in the meantime.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is not a partisan point.
No.
Because when I look at this hardcore right wing, hardcore left wing, you listen to both of them and it's like, this is pathology.
Yeah.
Here.
The thing you said, that with entrepreneurs, it's despite of.
Yeah.
So do you think
they do even better if they're great people. If they have these unbelievably visionary qualities and they're great people. And so that's what Jim Collins found in Good to Great and Built to Last, those famous business books. Some of those really, really, really visionary leaders, one of the things that they had in common is what he called level 5 leadership, intense resolve and deep humility is one of the things that they had. Now, that doesn't come very often. That's just, those are, intense resolve, an unwavering desire to be as successful as possible. It usually is not accompanied by a lot of humility.
Yeah.
And so the result is that you're going to tend to get more people who are really at the top of an industry, visionary leaders who are also weird and not good with people and not nice to people, but they're successful in spite of that.
So you don't think it's downstream from the dark triad? You don't think it's
There are dark triad reasons for that, for sure.
Like it's, again, this is like a long way to go, but Kamau Bell, who he's a comedian, and he made a documentary about Bill Cosby. He sort of implied that part of Cosby's drive to be great was so that he could do this dark stuff.
Yeah, no, that's possibly the case, but mostly people who achieve this worldly greatness, who are dark triads, is because they want to be adored. They have a deep, deep, deep need to be adored.
How do you feel about the need to be adored? Because I look at you and
Do you adore me?
you got the guns out fairly routinely, right? You're not doing less press. You're not. I'm on your email list. He's doing seminars. You got a Santa Fe event coming up. I'm really getting these emails.
Are you coming to my marriage retreat?
Give me a nice number, and there's a very good chance I would show up alone. I'm kidding.
You'll meet somebody.
So how do you feel about the need to be adored? Because I find that there's a lot of scholars right now, and I know a hungry hippo when I see one.
Hungry hippos.
Because I'm a hungry hippo.
Yeah.
Hungry hippos is the name of the game.
From a long line, I got hungry hippo friends, and talk to me. And do you judge yourself for it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, go.
Yeah, so this is the whole concept of the striver and the striver's curse. And this is different. This does not necessarily mean dark triad, et cetera.
No.
You're not a dark triad. I'm certainly not a dark triad. But there is a striverly tendency and people who are really, really, really driven. And I've studied that a lot. That's one of the things I'm most interested in is people who are, right? I'm interested in you.
I mentioned in 3 mics, like I tried to achieve my way out of depression.
I basically just set out to try to achieve a bunch of shit to give myself a surge of good feelings.
You tried to earn the love that you sought, which is very common. So that is manifest in, people will think of it as workaholism, but workaholism is a secondary pathology after success addiction, where life feels gray when you're not succeeding. And ordinarily that's pursuing...
Gray, you said.
Gray. Because that means a lack of dopamine. You get your dopamine from winning. Mm-hmm. And here's generally speaking the reason that it works. When your brain is most synaptically plastic is when you're a little kid. And if you're really good at something, get really good grades, you're a really good musician, you're a really good athlete, whatever it happens to be, you'll find that you get a lot of approbation and attention and affection from the adults that you care about the most only when you do something extraordinary, when you do something better than other people. Mm-hmm. That has a huge impact on a little dude or a little girl. It's just a huge impact. These are people who want to become Olympic athletes. So they do weird things like, create the Dave Chappelle show. I just pulled that one out of the hat. That's just as an arbitrary example.
And that poor guy.
and what that does is you conclude that love is earned. That love is earned. What you want is love. We are built to love, to love and be loved. This is, as creatures, that's our rocket fuel. But if you only feel because of the lessons that you got when you were a little kid that you were going to get energy and affection and attention from adults who cared about you, when you did something, you become kind of a human doing. Not a human, and that's important because love actually can't be earned. Love is a free gift, freely given. Love is a grace. If you surround yourself with people who make you earn their love, like you have a girlfriend who makes you earn her love, you have friends who are sycophantic kiss-ups who make you earn their love, they don't love you. That's actually a test of whether they love you or not, and they don't. Anybody who makes you earn their love can't love you and won't love you. And you need to get away as soon as possible.
It's never going to sound like you have to earn my love. It just sounds like, hey.
There's conditions, man. There's conditions. You have conditions on your marriage. You have conditions
or like,
on your
I love when you, I mean, again, it's all this stuff is subtle because it's like, if your wife goes, I adore you when you bring home a big check.
Right. Or if she actually clearly loves you a little bit less when you don't. That's actually the big test.
But isn't that common with women? Is like unemployment's one of the number one.
Yeah, I mean, when a man loses his job, the likelihood of divorce goes up by 35%.
Right.
When a wife loses her job, the divorce likelihood goes up by 0%, actually. Why? That doesn't mean that women are less virtuous than men. On the contrary, men will withdraw love when women don't earn it largely with fertility cues. So what you find is that the top 5 cues for a romantic relationship differ between men and women. For men, they're all fertility cues, and for women, they're all resource cues. And this goes back to evolutionary biology. It's not that this is some sexism thing. It's not that we're horrible human beings, but we are biological creatures. And so when women who don't actually love you will condition their affection on continued resource cues. And men who don't actually love their wives will condition their affection on fertility and attractiveness cues.
Which is why a lot of women get divorced after 40, I would think.
Yeah, and it's also one of the reasons that women who are very, very insecure about their relationships are getting a lot of work done and trying to look as young as possible when they're in their 50s and 60s and 70s because they don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
And that's, it's also, by the way, when their marriage does fall apart, what they're going to want to show is fertility cues, no matter how old they are. By the way, I was giving a talk to a bunch of orthodontists. And when I have to.
Stop bragging. Go ahead.
And, when you get in front of an industry group, you got to write their opening joke. And it's got to be specific.
Steve Martin has the best version of this, by the way.
Does he?
He's like, well, I heard there's a lot of plumbers here tonight. So anyway, I don't want to pander, but when you're unscrewing and he just goes into all this jargon, but it's at an arena. And so it just gets like kind of nothing and then a huge laugh. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah. So here's the joke I wrote for the orthodontists. How do you know 18 months before your wife is going to leave you?
How?
She gets braces.
Great.
So, hey,
did it work?
Oh, they cracked up, man, because it's true, and it's
they
funny.
live it.
Yeah, because basically, she's preparing to show fertility cues, and that's the reason that men will start working out more, or men will actually start trying to peacock more, or men will get the red sports car because that's peacocking resource cues when they're actually going through a midlife crisis. And one of the big reasons for that is because they're married to somebody, the man or the woman is married to somebody who's conditioning love. And they have grown up as super strivers. They're hard striving individuals. And so they don't actually recognize that conditional love is actually not love at all. And they go through life, and this is the problem that they actually have. That's why success addiction is such a big problem.
The red sports car's for the wife?
The red sports car is to actually is to show usually that they're on the market, and they want to show resource cues.
Oh, got it. Okay, because I always hear it as like
they want it like
my husband got a red. He's having a midlife crisis
because he's trying to peacock for other people to show he's got resource cues for the first time at age 43.
But is it because his wife is condition her love, or is it possible their love just disintegrated?
It might have disintegrated.
Yeah.
He actually is getting ready to go on the market. That's the braces for men.
Got it.
Is the
Invisalign. If I was going to rewrite it, Invisalign.
There you go.
Was it an Invisalign group?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I can't believe I told a joke on a
blew
comedian's
it.
podcast and I blew it. You shouldn't go on any comedian show when you're not a comedian and actually tell jokes.
But no, I'm so arrogant. I'll happily do
social
neuroscience. Ali Wong once referred to Invisalign as tooth jail, which I still think about all the time.
Nice.
Ali Wong's very funny. Guys, talked about it before. I'm going to talk about it again because I'm still working with it. Superpower. As a vegan, I've had to get, blood work because why not make it more inconvenient to be vegan, to do the right thing. And so I've been doing blood work, and maybe sometimes I'll take a supplement or some sort of thingy, and you got to get blood work done, right? I'm also old enough where I'm just like, it's smart to get blood work. Basically, there's also a rich person thing called a concierge service where you go and it's like you can get all your stuff looked at. But they ended up just sending you like a list, and then it's some things are in green, some things are in yellow, and it's not very instructive. But that's where Superpower comes in. Here's what they're doing. Superpower's they're in the game, and they send a licensed professional to your house, or you can go to visit a nearby lab. It's one simple blood draw with over 100 biomarkers, which is way more than what you usually get. And it unlocks a real understanding of your body. Their app includes detailed information on your heart, liver, thyroid, hormones, metabolism, vitamin, mineral levels, environmental toxins. From disease prevention to treating that annoying brain fog or simply optimizing your gym game, Superpower is the most comprehensive and advanced system out there. So you actually know what's happening inside of your body instead of just going like, I feel weird, or just find out what's actually happening instead of just like driving past your body and being like, I wonder what goes on in there. It'll tell you if you need to get more sleep, if you need to focus. They'll also give you like a health plan. They'll tell you what supplements you might want to take, vitamins, peptides. Those are big. I don't know if you've been on the internet. Behavioral adjustments, whatever, they'll tell you your true biological age. And by the way, you can track all this over time so that you can gamify it. So you go, I'm better than I was last month. I'm down. I need to go back to what I was doing. I'm up. It builds on the last so you can actually see progress year after year. It's fun. And they have an on-demand care team to answer questions as well, instead of waiting to see your doctor or just loading it into one of the chat bots. And you can upload old lab results, which I did, and it's just all your stuff's in one place, so you can stop just playing defense and start playing offense. You know what I mean? And I will say, other test services can charge up to $500, $1,000, sometimes more, for similar or less, and they don't. Make this the year you stop guessing about your health with Superpower. For a limited time, our listeners get $20 off to unlock their new health intelligence. Head over to superpower.com and use code NEAL for $20 off of your membership. That's code NEAL, and after you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about Superpower. Do me a favor, if you could, and tell them Blocks with Neal Brennan sent you to support the show. Guys, we're building something here. I love you. Guys, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Some people like summer, favorite season, travel pickups, kids are out of school, adventures in focus. For other people, it's they don't like having the kids out of school. Some people don't like their kids, is my point. I got big plans this summer that I'm not talking about, but I got a lot popping. And I will say that summer is my favorite time of year. I like warm weather, even though I'm very pale. I really like warm weather, and I like not being stressed out from coldness and like tight, and it feels like the world doesn't want you. Being outside's good. It's good. Again, pale guy likes it outside. And also you get to just walk by yourself and think about, you can contemplate. Maybe now's the time you take that, you make your move, and you start going to take a little therapy this summer. Huh? Here's the thing about therapy. You will come back from a therapy session with a better understanding of yourself. I always encourage people who are doing therapy, tell on yourself. If you're going to go there to lie, it's pointless. I know a guy who used to go to therapy for 3 hours because he's like, I'm a comic. I can lie for an hour. So go to therapy, tell on yourself. You'll get a better sense of what you're like, what your preferences are, what your beliefs are, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad, where you want to set boundaries, etc. I'm always talking about boundaries. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 6 million people globally, and it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. Here's the call to action. Put on a helmet. You don't have to say yes to everything this summer. Find support in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at BetterHelp.com/NEAL. That's BetterHelp.com/NEAL. BetterHelp. Go to therapy. Guys, here's the thing. We all eat, right? You got to eat at least twice a day. Sometimes you eat 3, sometimes you eat 4, whatever. These delivery services are officially out of hand. It's with the fees and the prices, and you think you're paying one thing and it ends up being like staying at a hotel. They're like, how about a resort fee? How about fill in something awful? Everything's expensive, and I'm a cheapskate, what we used to call cheapskate. CookUnity, on the other hand, it's the first chef-led meals delivery service that makes your meals in small batches inside local micro kitchens across the U.S., not factories, so every dish arrives with the kind of freshness you'd get at the restaurant itself. Meals from Michelin-starred chefs, James Beard winners, and Food Network stars. Go to CookUnity.com/NEAL or use code NEAL before checkout for 50% off, 50% off your first week. Huge. Here's what I ordered. I ordered a tofu. I ordered a lasagna. I ordered a curry. Cut to it, Will. It was all great. I ordered I ordered a burrito, really good. Basically, the way it works is there's a bunch of chefs. They make a finite amount of recipes and meals, and you can order by diet, gluten-free, pescatarian. You can specify spicy, not spicy, regional, not regional, bread, no bread. Like, it's the amount of specificity is kind of staggering. They have hundreds of things. And then they send it to you once a week in a bag, like one of those freezer bag thingies. It's still fresh. It's not frozen. It's just in one of those bags with like the ice thing on the sides to keep it cool. And put it in your fridge. And then when you want it, everything that I've made so far is heat up for 2 to 4 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. And it's like legitimately good to the point where I love, it's great. Like they're really good. Taste what happens when real award-winning chefs make fresh, small batch meals just for you. Go to cookunity.com/NEAL or enter code NEAL before checkout to get 50% off your first order. That's 50% off your first order by using code NEAL or go to cookunity.com/NEAL. I'm telling you, when people recommend bad food, I get furious, and if you're like me, I promise you, you're gonna be pleased. So we talked about. It's hard because it's supposed to be about your problems, but we're just gonna do.
Let's do you, man.
Well, no, I've done so much. Well, that's what's interesting is the signaling resources.
Yeah, and by the way, so you got back to that is my problem. By the way, I'm a complete striver, and I'm trying to earn everybody's love. When I was a little kid.
And you know it and you can't stop.
I can control it. I can manage it because with knowledge, practice, prayer, actually help, and by teaching it, I can manage these pathologies. I absolutely can.
Can you separate your thing about teaching from, because they're one and the same with attention seeking, because you're teaching on camera at dental seminars. You're teaching everywhere. So I don't think it's worthy of judgment. It's a thing I notice because I'm like, this is a guy who's knows all the stuff and he's clearly wants to look good and be together and he's got a necklace and
necklace. That's like the new thing.
Yeah. Like it's the
Blessed Virgin.
Oh, all right. That's good.
Yeah. I'm a Catholic.
Too. No, I know. I know. So I just wonder, but I don't, because I'm the same way, but I'm trying to get away from the guilty pleasures of. It's not even the flesh. It's dope. It's attention, dopamine.
It's the attention because that's the flesh. That's the pleasure. That's the hit for you. Is the adoration, and then the pathology comes in when you will actually seek the adoration of strangers over the actual true love of the people who are closest to you. So the truth is you're always going to do that. And it's not a huge problem as long as you know what it is, as long as you don't let it get out of control and you don't let it crowd out the love that actually will satisfy. Because that love won't satisfy any more than meth will satisfy you.
The adoration.
Yeah. Every drug addict in the world deep down thinks sooner or later I'm going to have enough drugs. And I'm going to stop when I have enough drugs. Every drunk is like, I'll have enough. I'm going to stop when I've had enough to drink. But there isn't enough alcohol in the whole world. There isn't enough meth in the whole world. You have to stop before you're ready because you'll never be ready is what it comes down to. That's the nature of addiction. And that's how you have to understand there isn't enough adoration in the world. It's like Rainn Wilson told us, we pal around, and he talked about when he was doing The Office. You know Rainn for sure, right? Yeah. He's great. We're both from Seattle. Mm-hmm. And so we've got this, we have the same childhood. We're about the same age. And he says that when he was doing The Office, he was consumed. People were screaming, "I love you," out of moving cars. But he was consumed about the fact that he never won an Emmy. He was consumed that he didn't get good movie roles because there isn't enough meth in the world. Yep. And that's the addictive drug. And so you have to recognize that if you have problems with alcohol and you have problems with drugs, if that relationship with the alcohol and drugs is getting in the way of your real no fool in love relationships. And the same thing is true with your need to succeed, with your need to be adored by other people. If you are seeking the adoration of other people on social media or on the road or something else, and you're compromising your relationship with your wife and your kids, that has become an addiction problem.
How wouldn't you be the last to know?
Unless you empower other people around you to tell you that, and that's one of the reasons I study it. It's not research, man. It's me search.
I know it's so bumper stickery.
Bumper stickery. No,
so like lefties are always right. Hello, it's me search. Just like.
I know. So, but that's the thing. It's like if you're doing the work.
I know when I see you, I go. I think he's not. it is the me. I think you're ignoring some of the me search.
Well, of course, because you're never. I mean, the fish doesn't know the temperature of the water. But I also surround myself with people who tell me the truth. I mean, I'm married to.
By the way, every delusional famous person I know thinks that as well. Just FYI, just for the record,
dude.
Everyone
I'm
thinks
so
that.
bummed now.
No, everybody no. Trust me, I have good people. The biggest bunch of sycophants you've ever seen.
They
in your
tell
life.
me the truth.
No,
these people,
they keep me humble. They don't fucking keep you humble at all, you monster.
But I'm talking about my wife, not the people who work with me.
Your wife's not a monster.
Yeah, but also,
and your wife's foreign.
She's married to a
an
Spaniard.
Extra level of honesty.
And when I'm look, I mean, it has aided greatly in the ability for me to actually go to a public education platform to have a desire to do so. I mean, the number one predictor of success is wanting to succeed, of course. But at the same time, you have to make sure that you've got certain protocols in place so that it doesn't ruin your life.
What are they?
And it has a lot to, well, I'll tell you, actually, I have certain protocols. I don't travel on weekends.
Okay.
I don't. I'm home on weekends. I don't.
What time? Friday by
afternoon.
Okay.
I don't take dinners in where I live, out where I live. So I have dinners at home.
Okay.
I have established it so that my kids and grandkids live around me, so that we can actually see each other every weekend. I look.
You move to them?
We all moved together to the same place. We made a deal. We all moved.
Who was it? Who sponsored it?
It was my kids who came up.
Yeah?
With it. Yeah. So my adult kids, where do we want to raise our kids? And we left. I mean, I've been teaching it in Boston for the past 7 years. It's actually Cambridge.
Is it Cambridge? It's hilarious.
But I moved away and had to commute for the past 7 years because we did that. But that was a very, very conscious decision. And I had
As
one
professor,
family.
what do you have to be there twice a semester?
It's a little bit more than that. Come on, man.
Come on.
It's not like I'm going up there every single week. It's true, but it was a sacrifice insofar as that I had to move away from my community, et cetera. But it was totally worth it because I knew that it's very easy for me to. The easiest thing that could be for me to do would be to take 250 dates a year on the road talking
Speaking
about
dates,
stuff. Yeah, and it's a lot of money.
Yep.
And it's super fun, and people clapping.
Yep.
And do as much media as I possibly can, and be gone a lot on weekends. Now, actually, my wife and I were taking gigs together because she's doing it on public speaking, and so we're about to do this retreat together in Santa Fe. We're going to Barcelona on tour together. Then we're going to Brazil together.
Do you say Barcelona?
Barcelona. Actually, she's from Barcelona, but she's Catalan.
Okay,
which is different.
They're the ones who say. Do they say
Barcelona? Barcelona, and then the Spaniards say Barcelona.
Got it.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's where we got married. So we've got these protocols in place, and it's not perfect. And sometimes I take a beat down. She's like, "Dude, read your books. This isn't going well. We need to tune this back up. It's time to get this back in order." We had a big come to Jesus about that last month. Brutal.
What's funny is I could have told you that was coming.
Yeah,
just based on my algorithm. Like literally just like, oh, this dude's he's not living up to his like
I know. And the problem is that she's on Instagram, so I'll be showing up at her algorithm.
Yeah,
I need to block her.
You've gone too far. Okay.
But this is a good point. And this goes back to when I was a kid. I wanted to be the world's greatest French horn player.
But you were very good, right?
I was a pro by the time I was 19 and spent my entire 20s playing in symphony orchestras and chamber music and as a soloist all around the United States and Europe, which is to say I made kind of a living.
But it's prestigious and it is not about money. It's like
it was good. It was
good. They're hard gigs to get.
There were
right?
a lot of people who were better than me.
Oh, there were. Okay.
There were a lot of people better than me, and I wanted to be the best. And one of the reasons I left is I couldn't be, which is a bad reason. I should have been in music because I loved music, but no, I was in music because I wanted to be a great musician, which is a pretty poor motive. I'm in social science now because I'm super interested in this. I lay awake at night thinking about the research on this. It's so interesting.
Yeah,
and I get to actually talk to a lot of people about it, and it can help them in their lives. So that's more than an added bonus. I've
heard you speak of two things that that I think are really, really, really helpful. Congratulations, you've actually helped somebody.
That's great. That's great.
One person doesn't happen often. The working against yourself, meaning knowing what you're like,
right.
Knowing you're depressed. I think on Rhonda Patrick's podcast, you talked about all the things you do because you know you're predisposed to negativity and
melancholia.
Tell people what they are, because I never heard someone say it. I was like, oh, because I have things that I've been doing, blocking this and putting that over here. Like, so tell people.
So, okay, so positive and negative affect are different. Happiness and unhappiness are not opposites. They're different challenges. So I have a series of tests that I give my students, that I give the people I work with, to find out what's their bigger challenge. Some people are insufficiently happy.
I went on the website, was filling it out. I need a promo code because I'm very cheap.
I'll give you a promo code.
Thank you.
ArthurBrooks.com.
ArthurBrooks.com. Honestly, it's fucking good.
It's cool. It's called the happiness scale, and you can actually find out whether your bigger challenge is positive or negative affect. For me, I'm at the 90th percentile in positive affect, but I'm at the 90th percentile in negative affect as well.
Like a woman.
I'm like a super mad scientist woman. Actually, I am. I'm a really, really high affect person. But what that means is I need protocols not to raise my happiness, but to rather to manage my unhappiness. And so a lot of people will ask me, for example, how important is it to exercise for your happiness? I say it's not. It's important for managing your unhappiness. I can tell something about people who are in the gym every day. If you're in the gym every day, it's like, I'm a gym rat. That's because you have naturally high negative affect. And you've figured out that you feel crummy when you don't do that. If you have low negative affect, because you're a cheerleader, because that's the kind of person that or you're a judge, which is a low affect profile. You just feel your emotions less intensely than other people. You're going to struggle to stay in the gym. And your doctor's going to be like, come on, man, 150 minutes of high-intensity exercise a week, please. And look, after 40, you're going to get sarcopenia. You need to actually start getting under the bar. And it's just such a drag. My wife hates going to the gym. She hates it. She's like naturally gifted athletically, but she hates it because she has low negative affect. She has nothing to treat. She doesn't feel better when she exercises.
What happens? Because it's like not a runner's high.
No. What actually happens is you're managing your stress hormones. Is what it comes down to. You will spike your cortisol when you're actually doing that, but you're managing your stress hormones in a very big way.
How are you spiking your cortisol?
Well, because your stress hormones go up when you're doing intense exercise. Because the stress hormones.
So you get it out of your system. So
not really, but what happens is that it not clear exactly if it gets it out of the system or not. But what happens is that when you go back to your equilibrium, when you're in homeostasis, that your stress hormones will not remain naturally high. As a result of that, you find that you're less stressed out when you exercise more. So you exercise a lot, right?
Yes, my brother calls it running the Brennan out of him.
Yeah, running the Brennan. That's and you're Irishman.
Yeah,
you have naturally high negative affect. Like there's a melancholy in that. And then you've noticed that if you run, especially if you run early in the morning, and especially if you get up before dawn and you see the sun come up while you're running, you're going to feel less bad. Not better, less bad. And so for me, all of my protocols that I put together, part of them I was just doing naturally. It's not like, it's like I'm 62 years old. Nobody cares if I got biceps. The point is that I care that I don't feel crummy. And so once I realized that I had adopted certain protocols that have a scientific basis to them for feeling less bad, I was then able to actually do the research and put it into a multi-part protocol that I follow assiduously almost every day. And it's been pretty miraculous, actually.
Pretty miraculous, but it's one of those things that's managing negative. So it's a bit like,
I'm managing
it's a bit of a... It's unfalsified. You know what I mean?
It's less
one
bad.
of the,
it's a double negative.
Yeah. There you go.
But it's an important thing to do because we do all kinds of things to lower negatives in our lives.
I think mostly people want to up the positive.
I know.
That's the American thing.
They think they want to up the positive, but I take these tests. I expose people to these tests because I say, look, you're not going to if you have naturally high positive affect, you're not going to get happier if you have a lower commute. All commuting does is raises your unhappiness. And so that's to have
Say that one more time.
So for example, a lot of people say, I will be happier if I have a shorter commute.
Yeah.
No, you won't. You'll be less unhappy if you have a short commute because a commute is a source of irritation. A source is a source of aggravation. And so there's all kinds of things that people get wrong in their marriages, for example. They need to lower the unhappiness of their marriage, not raise the happiness of their marriage. You need to solve a problem if the problems are the problem. But if you don't have the problems, you don't have lack of interest, then you need to raise the happiness. You need to know what to diagnose and what to do on the basis of understanding what part of the limbic system you're working in.
By the way, the test is $10, just to give you a sense of how fucking cheap cheap I am?
15.
Is it up to
It's
15?
Come on.
One for me. So just to give you a sense, this is how cheap I am. It means the world to me, and I still won't spend
Yeah, I'll
money.
give you.
And I got the money. BetterHelp.com, promo code Neal. You know I make money.
Is that one of your sponsors?
Of course. Are
they standing by right now?
Yes. They have over 100 licensed therapists. 100,000.
They're weeping in their homes.
Yeah.
And then they,
Okay, so you do.
Yeah,
You
so-
work out, but that's not all you do.
No. I get it first. This really starts for me based on the research. And, you never want to make the perfect the enemy of the good because everybody's circumstances differ. Some people have little kids and they can't do this. And so you just have to adapt it as best you can.
Yeah, like don't feel awful if you're
No,
like,
on the contrary.
I couldn't do it at
And
sunrise.
super strivers, they got to do everything
I know.
exactly right. And so, but I get up before dawn because the Brahma Muhurta in ancient Indian wisdom always talks about the optimization of the brain. But neuroscience, modern neuroscience really shows that your brain works better. You're less negative. You're more creative. You're better functioning in the default mode network in your brain, et cetera, if you get up before dawn. And so I get up.
It's got to be before.
It's before the sun comes up. There's something about experiencing the sun coming up or being up when the sun comes up. So I get up at 4:30. It just depends on jet lag because it depends on what time zone I'm in. But if I'm on the East Coast, it's 4:30 in the morning. And then I have a gym in my house, or I only stay in hotels that have gyms. And I'm in the gym at 4:45. I do that for an hour. Then I get cleaned up and I go to Mass every day. So I'm a Catholic. And again, this is not dogmatic about Catholicism. Just that Catholicism is like Starbucks. It's a highly uniform, high quality product that's ubiquitous. It's just, and I'm a Catholic.
I gotta say, I grew up Catholic and altar boy, whole thing.
We want you back.
You want to talk about, the thing about Starbucks is it's consistent.
Yeah.
Anytime I go to church, I'm like, man, this guy's a bad speaker.
I know.
Like those sermons, it's like, dog.
And dude, you're an expert as a comic.
I know.
As a comedian. Are you a comedian or a comic?
Comedian.
Yeah. So a comedian.
I mean, it depends on.
Well, I mean, you talk to
comic
comedians.
is what we call each other.
I do. I lecture for a living. Comedians have taught me the most.
Yeah.
About how to be a good lecturer.
Yeah.
About how to captivate.
Directly.
Yes.
Or like
Directly
they
and
told you,
indirectly.
or they. Yeah.
I mean, one of the best lessons I ever got in how to give a speech I got from Jerry Seinfeld.
What do you say?
Well, I was giving a speech at the Aspen Ideas Festival, and it was a big crowd. And I looking at the back and the crowd, kind of doing my talk, and like, dang, that guy looks like Jerry Seinfeld. It was Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
He comes up afterward, and I had told, hey, he's great, he's awesome.
Jerry's the best.
He's super great, and he's super nice, very normal. And I had told every 6 to 8 minutes I stop. Because these are the chunks of attention that, generally speaking, work for people. You got to let people off the bike. If you're doing serious science, you got to let them off the bike and take a rest. And the way that you do that is with a pretext. The pretext is, oh, I just read this study. I got to tell you about it. It's not related, but I got to tell you about it. That's a pretext. Or I want to tell
For
you
the
about,
next hunk.
No, just as a break, 45-second break.
That's not related to
not
the
related.
hunk before or the hunk
And then
after.
it's like the amuse-bouche.
Yep.
Right? Or you tell a joke, or you tell a story. It's got to be one of those three things in my business, right? And so during this talk, in my 6 to 8 minute break between the modules, I told a story because I was talking about parenting in that particular, the science of parenting. And I said, there's a big generational difference. When I was a kid, it was in the 70s, and I grew up in a very sort of downscale neighborhood in Seattle, and Ted Bundy had been marauding through my neighborhood. Right. And I had a paper route at 4:30 in the morning. And my mother was worried about serial killers out and about. And so she said to my dad, I think little Arthur, because I was 11, should give up his paper route at 4:30 in the morning because of all these serial killers. And my dad, who really had my interest at heart, and my dad had a PhD in biostatistics, he stuck up for my interest by making this argument. I've seen the data, and Arthur is not in the core demographic of a serial killer. Right, and it kind of was like that. They were kind of like, huh?
No, that's fine.
So
I
Jerry
laugh
Seinfeld
more at
comes up-
that than the other one.
Yeah, I'm still zero.
Than the dental
I'm
one.
still
Yeah,
0
yeah.
for 2. Anyway,
No, you're 1 for 2.
So Jerry comes up afterward and he says, that joke could kill.
That's the first thing I thought. You're telling that wrong.
I'm telling it wrong.
Yeah.
He said there's too many words.
Yep.
And leave out Ted Bundy because people are seeing Ted Bundy's face, who is an actual serial killer who killed a bunch of women. That's not funny. You stepped on your joke by personalizing the joke. Do you agree?
No. I think Ted Bundy's the punchline. I think
Really?
Ted Bundy is. I think you say there was some. The 70s were a lot of serial killers.
Yeah.
And and my dad stuck up for me, and 2 months later, Ted Bundy was arrested 10 miles away from my house. It's incredible. So that's God forbid, Jerry. But
the whole point is that I was doing it wrong. And I learned, how do I learn? I learned from the people who are doing the same thing and making it look fresh.
yeah,
So when I watch you, for example, you're making it's like you're doing it for the first time, even though you're doing it for the 400th time. So the timing is impeccable, but it's sort of funny to you because it looks like it just occurred to you, and that's technique and timing.
yeah.
And that's super important in my line of work too.
Yeah.
I learn a lot more from comedians than I learned.
I
from
gave
social
Sam
scientists.
Harris a note when I saw his show.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a note that somebody had given me, which is I won't say what it was, but it was like there's a lot to be learned from the I don't know how we got on this. We're talking about how crappy most priests are at public speaking. One of the main
they are,
jobs.
and part of it is just because they're not very
molested.
well trained in homiletics at Catholic seminaries.
Which is a mistake.
It's a mistake. It is a mistake. Part of
'cause
it
it
is
seems
because
like-
so many people need to come back and they're repelled by the lack of technique and because it's boring.
Yeah,
And a lot of priests, what they believe, not entirely without basis, is their job is to administer the sacraments. But that's not the only thing they're supposed to do.
I would argue that's probably the least important one.
Well, it's really important that somebody administer the sacraments. If you're
No.
Catholic,
I'm not
but-
saying don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying give
you
it
got to.
people.
It's got to be attractive. I mean, we got to. It's just you got to be attractive. So anyway, yeah. But we need you back.
So you
Neal.
go to. You're not. I believe in God. That's as far as I'm going.
Okay, that's a good start.
Like I say, I'm like Rob Lowe with the NFL hat on. I just believe in God generally, but not a specific denomination.
Do you believe in up to one God?
What do you mean? Oh, I don't believe in. I
sort of
don't believe
Unitarian
that
belief.
God is a thing. That's That's my other issue.
All right.
It's not a.
Spinoza.
It's not a. It's not a. Yeah. It's not a. There's. It's not. I haven't anthropomorphized him. I
So
haven't
God is
amplified-
every place.
It's a central creation force, as far as.
Oh yeah, that is very Spinoza.
Great.
Yeah.
No one's ever heard of him. Okay, so
Dutch
you go to
comedian.
You
Yeah.
go to you go to the gym.
Yeah.
Then you
I go to mass.
clean up, which sounds gross when you say. Then I go to mass. Something about it's gross.
Take a shower.
Then you go to mass.
I go to mass
and
with
then
my wife when I'm home.
What does the mass fulfill?
What that does is it actually centers psychologically and spiritually. It centers me psychologically and spiritually. There's no I've spent virtually no time on the devices still at this point. But there's actually
The
no,
device is your phone.
my phone.
Okay.
My phone. I mean, occasionally I'll look at it when I first wake up to make sure nothing's on fire. And then a couple of days a week, I'll listen to something that I'm trying to learn. But it's not just to anesthetize
Be at
myself.
the
while I'm
gym?
working. Yeah, at the gym. But I try
during
not
mass?
to use it.
Okay.
But there's zero desire to do that. And actually, that it works the same way as meditation. So neurophysiologically, it works the same way as meditation.
Do you?
So,
What's the date?
sacred reading or meditation or mindfulness or yoga or a Zen practice or going to mass, it fulfills
It's all
the same.
fulfilling the same thing.
Yeah.
What's the data on audio lifting and listen to a podcast, say blogs with Neal Brennan with guest Arthur Brooks, and exercising?
So what it suggests is that a lot of people use it because it makes it easier for them to pass the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important is that you're doing the exercise for a certain amount of time physiologically and also emotionally for you to lower your negative affect for sure. The problem is you miss a key thing. So most people will say, I have my best ideas in the shower. The reason is because your phone's not in there, and your default mode network is stimulated. A set of structures in your brain required for mind wandering, flights of fancy, thoughts about the meaning of life.
Yep.
All that stuff actually occurs when these structures are illuminated. You can do that while you're in the gym. You will find, for example, you say, if you have an intention, I have a creative problem. I'm trying to write a column, or I'm stuck on a chapter of a book, or I don't know.
Do you still write at the Atlantic?
I write for the Free Press now.
Got it.
And so I moved at the beginning of the year. I write the same column called The Pursuit of Happiness.
You run 60 Minutes?
I'm the new.
You're now in charge
I'm the
of
new
60
executive
Minutes?
producer of 60 Minutes. Want to come on?
It's not far. You're in the pipeline.
Pretty far. Pretty far. Yeah, that's right. So I keep checking my messages. And I was like, so far, nobody's asking
You
me to
never
do that
know.
gig. Yeah. So when I'm stuck on a creative problem, the best thing I can possibly do is to work out without any inputs. Just a workout. I will solve the problem. So if I go for a walk without headphones too, that'll do it. Cardio, high intensity cardio will do that too. But even weightlifting, if I'm not using earbuds, I got this thing. I'm probably going to come to the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to have been an adult before the internet.
Oh, the before times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have had good ideas and you go, maybe I don't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, for sure. And that's actually a big creative block for a lot of young people who don't know how to be non-stimulated. They've actually eradicated boredom, which is an incredibly dangerous neurophysiological thing to do. You
Alleviate
need to be
boredom.
Yeah, it's a very bad thing to be systematically never bored. You're effectively shoving yourself into the left hemisphere of your brain systematically, which is about analysis and linear thinking and information, how to and what. And you're
being bored is shoving yourself into the left brain.
You're vacating the right hemisphere. This is based on the work of Ian McGilchrist, who talks about hemispheric lateralization. The right side of your brain is the why side, the mystery and the meaning side. You will literally not be able to assess questions of the meaning of your life if you're never bored. That's a problem. And the fact is, people all the time, why are young people so depressed and anxious? Why are people under 30, especially women, so depressed and anxious? Oh, it's a big mystery. It must be because baby boomers have driven up the price of apartments or because of income inequality. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. That's ridiculous. The reason is because we've broken our brains through the inappropriate use of technology. That's it.
How do you feel about the pill? I wasn't. Have you read the Louise Perry book?
Yeah, but the birth control pill. And part of it is sort of the social consequences of the sexual revolution.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Louise Perry stuff. I'm more interested in the effect of hormonal birth control on how it affects attraction and relationships between men and women. And there's some very provocative studies that show, for example, that women who go on hormonal birth control in adolescence and don't go off until after they're married are spontaneously not attracted to the men that they're married to when they go off for the first time.
It changes your taste,
because you're attracted
basically?
to different men. If you don't ovulate, you're attracted to a certain kind of male during ovulation and during periods of non-ovulation. And that makes perfect sense for childbearing. To get pregnant or to have a nurturer or whatever it happens to be.
What are they suppressing? Are they suppressing more alpha male?
Yeah, so when you're not ovulating, you're
a
more,
fake term, alpha male, but more
when
higher
you're more
testosterone,
attractive.
whatever.
Women, average. Once again, people's results vary.
Arthur,
Neal's like,
as
nope.
a guy who's made a lot of money on stereotypes, shut your mouth.
I was like, dude, yeah, but listen, it made you a lot of money. It ends my career. So I was like,
whatever. That's the land acknowledgement of sociology. This is not for everybody. Most people.
Overlapping distributions of male.
The bell curve, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So what you find. What are we talking about here?
We're talking about
the pill.
What the pill and what
so
women
these
are
pretty interesting studies. When women are not ovulating, they're more interested in men who are less prototypically hypermasculine. And when they are ovulating, to men who are more prototypically masculine. And so what'll happen is they start ovulating for the first time in years and years and years and years. They'll find they're married to somebody to whom they're not as attracted as they thought they were.
Yeah.
It's a disconcerting thing when you want to get pregnant for the first time 3 or 4 years into your marriage.
Yeah.
It's and again, this shouldn't be shocking to anybody. If you mess with your hormones, there's going to be a price.
Yeah.
And again, there are all kinds of good reasons to mess with your hormones. I mean, hormone replacement for postmenopausal women can be a miracle for a lot of people. Hormone replacement therapy for some men can really change their quality of life in a very positive way.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is there's no lack of secondary consequences.
Well, yeah, it's the Thomas Sowell quote. There's no
free lunch.
There's no solutions. There's only trade-offs.
Exactly right.
Which is like
exactly right.
Nails it.
Yeah.
All right. So you do all these things. You go to the gym, go to the church, you shower,
I shower every day.
You
That's
have
my protocol.
You try to work you try not to get on your phone.
Yeah.
And it's you're playing defense against yourself.
I'm playing defense against my natural melancholy, which gets in the way of my life.
Isn't it making your life better? Or the melancholy's getting in the way?
I mean, and the truth is, melancholics. It's funny because there's I'm a mad scientist, which means high negative affect. High negative affect is actually implicated for a lot of people in ruminative sadness, and there's very provocative research about what ruminative sadness looks like physiologically. That's involved.
You're looking at it.
Rumination per se. Everything in neuroscience is contested because it's such a new field. Right?
I wanted to mention that replication
everything is
crisis.
contested.
They a lot of these studies that you go, when you stand like Superman, you get confident. They can't replicate the study. Yeah. Meaning it worked once, but so.
Yeah. So I try to stay away from any research that hasn't been replicated. If it's too new, I don't generally write about it. I don't generally talk about it in my column or write about it in my research because I want it to be replicable, but still everything's legitimately contested, especially in neuroscience because it's a new field. 30 years ago, almost no universities had neuroscience departments, and now they all do because this is the black box. This is the thing that we really all want to understand.
Yeah.
But it's still a black box. That said, rumination, which it involves, according to really pretty good and provocative research, a part of the brain called the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, VLPFC for short. And it's not just about ruminative sadness, which has probably evolved so that you can solve problems and don't make the same mistake twice. Mm-hmm. Like, I made a mistake. I'm so stupid.
Or you make it over and over and over.
Yeah. Or you can get into a maladapted cycle, which is why when you raise serotonin in the synapse, it lowers activity, ruminative activity in the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex. Here's the unintended secondary.
If you raise
serotonin. So if you take a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, Prozac. What it does is it leaves more serotonin in the synapse of the brain, and that's correlated with less activity in the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, according to a lot of these studies. I haven't seen it because I haven't done fMRI studies on this myself. I've just seen it in the research. Now, that's great because you're going to be less maladapted in your ruminative sadness. I'm so stupid, nobody loves me, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is there's other kinds of rumination that it also appears to eradicate. For example, when you're falling in love, you're ruminating on the other person. Mm-hmm. This is why a lot of people on mood adapters, who are taking mood drugs, psychiatric drugs for depression, they say it's hard to fall in love. I don't know why. I can't fall in love. And that's because they can't ruminate on the other person. People will often say, when I'm taking a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, I feel less creative. Why? Because creativity is rumination. You know, when you're preparing one of your Netflix specials and you're ruminating. You're using that part of your brain.
I wrote Chappelle Show on Zoloft.
Did you? Good.
Yep.
Imagine how good it would have been if you weren't on Zoloft.
Oh man, Arthur.
That thing would have been so much better.
And
you might have also been, a suicide risk.
Yeah. And it's not consistent. I've written great stuff on Zoloft and not.
And this is again, none of this is an argument to not take your meds.
Yeah.
What this suggests is that these are marginal effects that people actually will experience. But once again, there's no free lunch. Is what it comes
I stopped ruminating from psychedelics, I believe.
It really helped your brain, huh?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I stopped ruminating. So I ruminate so little now. It's like I don't have a personality.
So does it hurt your creativity?
I don't know. All I know is I used to my entire personality was a rumination. The whole thing was a rumination. It might. I don't know. I still write jokes, so it's like
you do write jokes.
But
I hear new stuff
the whole thing was a rumination. It's fascinating that it's gone.
Right.
And I wonder.
There's another explanation too, by the way.
Go.
Age.
Okay.
So what you find is
that's
that
what I was
neuroticism.
Telling Dan Harris, who says hello. I did.
He's awesome. He's the most soulful atheist I've ever met.
We didn't even get that far.
I think that guy's fantastic.
He is great. Yeah. And but I said, I think some of this stuff just dissolves.
Yeah. So neuroticism dramatically declines. So there's 5 aspects of personality. There's openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And they all change as you get older, mostly for the better. It's one of the reasons that people tend to have better.
What goes up? What goes down?
So openness to experience goes up and then goes down. And so in your mid-50s, you're almost at the age where you're going to see.
So that's where you get real racist in your 50s.
Where you're less likely to want to ride a scooter, right?
That's fun.
Yeah, and that'll stay kind of where it is. Some people are just naturally open to experience, but almost everybody has a decline in their openness to experience.
Yeah.
So you have more neophobia and less neophilia. Right, is what it comes down to. So that's one, and that's neither good.
But
nor bad.
I'm joking about the racism thing.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to it. I
don't want to hear your newfangled political opinions.
No,
kids.
I'm not. But I'm saying like old people get. I also think it's physical in that like you can fall.
Yeah.
And break your hip and you're done.
Yeah. You're not going to bungee jump when you're 70
Yeah.
if you have bad osteoporosis.
Yes.
Because you're not stupid. Okay.
Right.
So for sure. But that was neither positive nor negative. That's value free in its way because it doesn't really correlate very well with happiness and different strokes. Extroversion has two parts to it. It's assertiveness and gregariousness. Assertiveness is, I ordered mashed potatoes and you brought me French fries. I want mashed potatoes. You're way more likely to be assertive as you get older.
That checks
You're
out.
way less likely to be gregarious, which is party totally. Right? And so the gregariousness goes down, the assertiveness goes up, right?
Interesting.
As you get older. So that's how extroversion changes, it doesn't rise. Agreeableness goes up in almost everybody.
Does
People
it make?
become more
Can I
agreeable.
ask on gregariousness? Are old people not? What there's like it doesn't that fly in the face of like there's a loneliness epidemic? Meaning, if old people they don't want to socialize.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, when your gregariousness goes down, if you actually don't have people around you, then you're going to get lonely. If you've got what'll happen is that people who have a good family life will just lock into their families as they get older.
What about the grandpa who's just in the other room?
Yeah, that's not great. That's
But
not going to be good for his
what
happiness.
is that? Is that?
Part of it is just
Well,
you
they
can't
have
stand
horrible
you people.
personality. Right. They have horrible personality. Their personalities are from another time.
Yeah, for sure.
And they don't get
But that's
the new sound we're all
That's
rocking.
he will become less gregarious, and he's just less gregarious people actually want to have a conversation about something they've never talked about with somebody they didn't know. That's what they want to do.
That's a pretty rare thing, isn't that?
I know. Well,
it's statistically pretty rare. Is that a small
Well,
group?
that's if you're really, really extroverted. But gregariousness is a 0 to 1 thing. It just means more or less of that. More or less, right? And if you're naturally introverted, when you get older, you're going to more likely be shut in. Because if you naturally have low gregariousness and it goes down, you're not going to want to meet anybody. You might become agoraphobic, actually.
Yeah, hopefully.
You can only hope. So agreeableness goes up because people, as they get older, figure out that it's never worth being disagreeable. It's just not worth it. The cost-benefit calculations just don't work out. When you're a kid, you're like, totally, I'll scream because they cut the crusts off my PB&J.
Doesn't it go up? Didn't you say it goes up?
Agreeableness goes up, not
In-
disagreeableness. Agreeableness goes up.
Oh, so you stop complaining about your mashed potatoes?
Well, no, you'll be assertive, but you won't be a jerk.
Okay, I'm getting confused.
You won't be a dick about it.
Okay,
You'll be like, no,
agreeableness.
and you'll embarrass your kids. You'll be like, excuse me. I know,
Yeah.
I ordered the mashed potatoes and you brought me French fries. And the kids are like, Dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's agreeable assertiveness. And there's more of that as you get older. Now, some people are naturally so disagreeable, they can get more agreeable and they still suck. Right? Because all of these things are gradations from your natural habitat, from your natural personality. These are directional. These are deltas. Right? Conscientiousness almost always goes up. It almost always goes up. People become more conscientious as they get older. They're more likely they're less flaky. They're more likely to comply with their promises. They're more likely to live up to their word. If they say they're less likely.
But that's a slight contradiction from gregariousness, right? If their gregariousness is going down,
well, they're not making promises they don't keep. They're not going to say, "Yeah, I'll come next weekend to that party," and then not.
They won't commit to much, but what they commit to, they'll be informed.
Old people are fundamentally, measurably more conscientious than young people. If you're already conscientious at 30, you're going to be so awesome at 80. You're going to be so conscientious. People just want to be around you because they can count on you.
Yeah.
If you say, "I'm going to do this thing," you're going to do that thing. Your word truly is your bond.
Yeah.
And it's more so as you get older. And the best one of all is the neuroticism because it falls. You'll find people who have borderline personality disorder that doesn't completely resolve, but they're non-functional at 35 and they're very functional at 55 that you'll see. People, generally speaking, neuroticism is a Freudian concept that largely refers to depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So the mood disorders of depression and anxiety, bipolar perhaps, but mostly it's, these common things that a lot of people suffer from. You're almost certainly going to be less anxious and almost certainly going to be less depressed. It doesn't mean you're not going to be not depressed. It just means less.
Are these hormonal? Is it testosterone? Is it estrogen? We don't know. We don't know. Okay, because
there's lots of hypotheses.
It's kind of the best. It's the most effective thing that's ever happened. Because I can't. I'm not like, well, now I'm taking this and I got this. It's just like things just don't really upset me anymore.
Yeah. It's so good getting older. It's so good it's just like life is fundamentally better. Now, what you find, interestingly, is that general happiness declines through your 30s and 40s. And it tends to bottom out in your early 50s. And then most people who don't have badly untreated mood disorders or substance abuse problems, they increase a ton in their 50s and 60s. It's like,
to higher than it ever was?
It's to as high as it was when you were a kid. Is when you're a kid. Then the population breaks up into two groups. Half and half. Half keep getting happier until almost the very end. And the other half, after about 70, start back down again.
And what's that look like?
That looks like people who don't know how to retire. And interestingly, you'd think it's the people who had the best lives would have the greatest likelihood, in their working lives, would have the greatest likelihood of being happier after 70. They're not. So that's a real winner's curse problem. If the more success that you had in your working life, the more likely you are to start down in your happiness after 70 because the party's over. And people don't know how to. People who've had a lot of professional success really, really struggle. That's kind of the Darwin effect, where Darwin peaked and he couldn't make any more progress and he was super depressed because even though everybody was telling him he was a great scientist, he felt like he was a charlatan. And so I wind up having to help a lot. That's why I wrote that book, From Strength to Strength, in 2022, was to figure out how to help people actually move on with their lives so they wouldn't get stuck and wouldn't be depressed. So there's Carol and Charles Holohan, who are social psychologists at the University of Texas at Austin, married couple. They do work on the burden of high achievement. Mm-hmm. People who are identified as super high achievers before the age of 20 are more likely than average to be disappointed by their lives when they're 80. Not because they sucked, but because it's really, really hard to live up to your own expectations. And sooner or later, somebody's going to take the punch bowl away. You're going to miss a step, and you're going to feel crummy about it. So you got to take measures, if you're a high achiever, to make sure that as you get older and your personality is getting better, that now you're in your glory, you're 50 years old, you're going to get like another 15, 20 years where your happiness is going to rise and rise and rise. But you have to take measures now to make sure it doesn't start back down again.
Excellent. Guys, I used to smoke cigarettes. You can't do it, but man, nicotine's pretty great. You can't do it, but you want a little. I like the action. You like the action? There's if you're trying to get off caffeine, get off nicotine, there's a new pouch on the scene, guys. Ultra pouches. They've been a complete game changer for focus and energy. I succumbed. You know what I mean? I dabble. Don't judge. They're nicotine-free and caffeine-free. And you're probably thinking, then what's the point? Great question. The Ultra partner with leading neuroscientists to design these pouches. They use clinically proven nootropics and adaptogens to deliver immediate focus and smooth energy that lasts 1 to 2 hours. True story. No peak, no crash. They're truly clean, plant-powered pouches designed to sharpen your mind and lift your energy, all without caffeine, nicotine, or crash. I'm also seeing these everywhere. They're absolutely blown up. I got them at the house. They're just good. They're you get a little action going, but it's not. You don't feel gross. You don't feel like bath salty. You don't feel like You just feel like a little up. Doesn't affect your sleep. Doesn't affect. It doesn't. It just, if you want to just be like a little alert for a window or get a little action going. Doesn't affect your hormones. I'll just pop one in like after lunch when I want to write something, and it's good. Ultra is the ultimate guilt-free pouch delivering instant focus and mental clarity without nicotine or caffeine. New customers can use code NEAL to get 15% off at takeultra.com. That's TAKEULTRA.com for 15% off with code NEAL. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. They should figure it out from the code, but just tell them Neal sent you. Neal and Blocks, okay? TakeUltra.com. Guys, people talk about the perfect this is the perfect mug, this is the perfect weather, this is the perfect. But you know what they don't talk about enough? The perfect gene. What are my biggest issues with genes? I would say my biggest issue is they're too hard and they just don't fit right. They're for somebody else's body, and then you go like, well, why? What's wrong with my body? And then you spin out. Yeah, you got to pull them up. It feels like you're wearing a diaper. It looks like you're wearing a diaper. It's not quite the right waistband. Etc. You insert your problems here. This is where the perfect gene comes in, guys. Yeah, they sent them to me. Yeah, fine. So what? It's fine. But I will say this. I did return a pair, and they sent me a better fit. And because the thing of it was, I didn't fill out the form correctly the first time. But they were like, it was seamless. Like, it was so seamless, it was like creepy. Like one of those things where you order it and then the next day they show up and you're like, how? And they fit perfectly in the places I needed them to fit perfectly. And I'll tell you why right after this. No, I'm kidding. Let's do some ads. The reason they fit so perfectly is because the fitting, they have a bunch of different categories, waist, inseam, like they have a bunch of different things. Then they have a fabric thing where you kind of like pick the fabric. It's like very custom. I'm cheap, right? Do I look like the kind of guy who wants to pay $200 for pants or even like $150? Perfect Gene. How about $79.99? Huh? Guys, here's the call to action. Stop what you're doing. Our listeners get 15% off their first order plus shipping at theperfectgene.nyc or Google The Perfect Gene and use code NEAL15 for 15% off. Theperfectgene.nyc or Google The Perfect Gene and use code NEAL15, Neal15, for 15% off. The Perfect Gene. Go on, get you some. You have another thing that I've incorporated. I hope you don't mind. You help somebody again.
Good. I don't mind at all. It's like you won't pay $15, but still.
I'm on Sam Harris's college plan.
I get no laughs from you. You're gonna be crumbs, Neal.
I know. I'm awful.
Well, here's the thing about comedians.
No.
I've got the data on comedians. Yeah.
We don't laugh. We just got.
Well, there's two things. Joy from being funny or finding things funny are fundamentally different because they happen in different parts of the brain. This is the psychology. I actually forgot about this. I did an MRI study one time, like 8 years ago, where they would put up a New Yorker cartoon without a caption. Right.
And they would say, don't think of a caption. And then they would go, okay, now you can think of a caption to see which part of my brain was activated.
Uh-huh.
And they said my brain couldn't not.
Yeah.
It was just like, I can't not think of a caption.
You can't not think of a caption.
Yeah.
Because you're super trained in that way. You're super trained in that way.
That's exactly right.
And civilians can not think of a caption.
Yeah.
Civilians could be thinking about, like, what am I going to have for lunch?
Stupid
or
stuff.
Something.
Like their wife.
Like these non-comedians thinking about their family. Losers. Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right. The neuroscience of comedy is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like why the part of the brain that gets flicked by a joke, like when you tell a joke, which doesn't bring you happiness, but brings somebody else happiness, the reason is because it's not surprising you, but it is surprising.
Yes.
And that's a little part of the brain called the parahippocampal gyrus. And then when you flick it, not too much. Don't talk about mom dying if she died last week, right? Not too little, because this is a dad joke.
Right.
And it'll groan if you flick it just right. Because I've given you dad jokes, apparently. This is the reason.
No.
Not even that good. So you flick it, and then people laugh involuntarily. That's what it comes down to. I mean, dumb, like...
It's Peter McGraw has a theory called benign violation.
Yeah.
That's his theory of comedy.
And that's the parahippocampal gyrus tweak. Is what
parahippocampal gyrus, what I thought of was that Key and Peele sketch where they do the black college football names.
These are 12 washing beard. Jones College. Shakira Kwan, TGIF, Carter, University of Northern Arizona.
Parahippocampal gyrus, University of Texas at Austin. Yes.
And parahippocampal would have been a good one. I'm always thinking
if I had a punk band, it'd be called Parahippocampal.
Yeah, there you go.
Limbic system.
Nice. Okay, the other thing that you've espoused that I think is really valuable, the reverse bucket list.
Yeah.
Tell the kids what that is.
Arthur Brooks on Twitter, January 10th, 2025. I used to have a bucket list. Now I have a reverse bucket list. This is where I take my worldly cravings, desires, and ambitions, these dumb, trivial desires. I write them down on my birthday, and I cross them out. Not because I'm not going to get them, but because I want to manage those cravings and desires. When I write them down, I acknowledge that I have the desire. When I cross them out, I acknowledge that I will not be attached to this goal.
Strivers. This is what strivers need to do. So
I've incorporated it legitimately.
It's working for you?
Yeah, but between that and the low neuroticism and rumination, I'm sitting alone. I'm basically a shut-in. I have no personality. I have no interest. I have no.
So you think, and part of the reason is because you defined your personality on the basis of your pathology, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people actually do that. They'll define their personality with respect to the things that are wrong. And you have to understand who you are as a person. You're actually an incredibly interesting person. You're not less interesting because you're less messed up. On the contrary.
No, I actually don't think I am. I'm joking that
I know.
I'm not, but I find it is interesting. I'm more like, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And a lot of people are very uncomfortable. They're very uncomfortable with their level of comfort.
It's also disconcerting.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
When you're changing, for sure. When your personality is changing. People, when their personality changes in midlife, will find that they can't sign their names on checks in a way that convinces their bank. It's so weird, isn't it?
That's funny. I signed something. There is that thing now where you can do it with your finger.
Yeah.
And it'd always take me a few tries because I'm like, no, I don't like
That's not me. That's not it.
It's just I don't want that.
That's not it.
on the record.
I know. So the reverse bucket list is the idea that we want to motivate ourselves by experiencing, by simulating a little bit of the achievements of meeting the desires that we have deep in our hearts for the worldly rewards in our lives. So I want to see this person. I want to experience that. I want to bungee jump off the Mekong Delta. I want to meet the President of the United States. I want to make my first billion, whatever it happens to be, whatever your thing is, right? I want to get a Ferrari, something like that. And then you think about it, and what you're doing is you're eliciting a little bit of the dopamine, which is anticipation of reward, and that's supposed to program into you. It's supposed to kind of manifest in the universe, which is really trying.
You're anticipating the reward.
You're anticipating a little bit of the reward, getting a taste.
If I do this, I'm going to feel.
Yeah, and I got a little taste of that. And then what you're trying to do with that bucket list is say, okay, I got that taste, and now I want the real thing. And it'll set you in search of it, and it will. By the way, it really will motivate you, but it won't make you happier. Yeah, because all manifestation is changing your own directionality. All it is changing your behavior.
So you believe in manifestation in a way.
Well, no, but
there is a neuroscientific basis.
Oh, yeah. It's very clear in the research that manifestation, which some goofy thing about the universe changing.
You want to make $1 billion? Teach a manifestation class based on neuroscience only on TikTok. You're gonna have to change your phone number. You're gonna be so rich.
I'm not doing that. But the problem with that is it doesn't raise your happiness, and the reason is because you are also programming into your brain that satisfaction will come when you have more, and that gets back to the old booze problem. Look, I'm finally going to be satisfied. I'm finally going to have enough sexual partners. I'm finally going to have enough, rounds at the blackjack table. I'm finally going to have enough time on, looking at Instagram reels. You're not, because that's not how the brain works. The brain is completely insatiable for that. So what you're suggesting to yourself is that satisfaction comes from having more. Real satisfaction comes not from feeding your animal impulses. Mother Nature's lying to you because you need to make that mistake to stay in the hunt. So your ancestors, the ancient Brennans, believed that they could finally have enough if they actually did more. And that's what kept them in the hunt, and that's why you're alive today. But that didn't make them happy because Mother Nature doesn't care.
It's so funny because it's all based on no refrigeration.
I know.
Guys, we have to update this. We have to.
And so here's the updating mechanism. You can choose not the animal impulse that's incorrect, but the moral aspiration that you desire. The great human prefrontal cortex, this meaty bulb of tissue in the front of your head, 30% of your brain by weight. Your dog doesn't have it. Your dog only has animal impulses. You have the choice of moral aspirations in which you stand up to your animal impulses. And you do it all the time. You're married a long time.
Not that long, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But you go on tour and, you could do all kinds of misbehavior according to your animal impulses.
Yeah.
And you don't, because you don't want to do that, because you've chosen to forego immediate gratification for long-term outcomes that you find are morally superior and more satisfying for your life. And what you're basically saying is this: I don't need to increase my haves. I need to decrease my wants. Your satisfaction is your haves divided by your wants. That's a better model for long-term satisfaction. And if you increase the numerator, have more, it's very evanescent. That's the hedonic treadmill. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
If you decrease the denominator, it's mathematically as well as psychologically more enduring. And the reverse bucket list is lowering your wants.
How do you quiet the voice that says, like, you're lazy?
Yeah. You're never going to quiet that voice. What you have to do is stand up to that voice. Let it yell, man. Bring it on. I can stand up to that. That's what it comes down to. And everybody thinks that we need to quiet a voice that's bothering us. No, we need to bear up against the voice that's bothering us. It's the same thing. If you have back pain, don't try to get rid of your back pain. Learn to live with your back pain. Manage it, but learn to live with it. If you're sad, don't try to eradicate your sadness. It exists for a reason. Learn about what it is, observe it, manage it, and live with it. That's the important way to actually get through life. And the same thing is true with these obtrusive, intrusive messages about who we are as people. And say, oh yeah, that's my little friend, little Neal.
Yeah.
Who's in
there's
here saying
Rodney Dangerfield, of all people, did a joke about this. Before he was like a no respect guy, he did a joke about, like,
I wake up, the pressure to heaviness is waiting for me nice to heaviness. And sometimes I even talk to it. I say, hi, heaviness.
I'm sure he was depressed.
He was absolutely
I'm sure he was depressed.
Absolutely.
And my life, I'm sure yours too, is one disappointment after another. Not about the things that other people are doing. On the contrary, people thrill me with their brilliance and their bravery and their moral uprightness and their kindness every single day. It's me. I'm a disappointing person to me.
I say no one's disappointed me or lied to me more than I have.
Totally. But I have to recognize that that's a voice inside my head that says, maybe if you work a little harder, somebody will love you. You didn't earn it. Go earn it. Go earn it, buddy. That's the little voice that says that actually starts from what we talked about.
Are you living this? That's the thing is
Neal, that's why I'm going to Mass every day. That's the reason that I'm praying my rosary with my wife every day.
For help me fucking do this?
Help me understand what is the nature of this and what is the truth. I want the truth. I don't mind the fact that I'm imperfect, because we all are. But I do not want to be guided in my life by the lies and imperfection. I want the truth notwithstanding what's actually going on inside my head.
How much of it is, do you pray for acceptance of this nonsense that we all have in our head?
Of course.
Of just like, please, like,
of course.
Anytime I've done psychedelics, I'll go like, please help me hold on to this.
Yeah. So here's the thing. And here's the beautiful thing about psychedelics.
We need you at Psychedelics, by the way.
Yeah.
And you need me at church.
Just to make a deal, man.
Let's talk turkey.
So what people who use psychedelics, or people who are really religious, or people who are serious meditators, what they have in common is that they recognize at the end of the day that life has suffering in it. But suffering is not the same thing as pain. Pain is a normal phenomenon that happens to you because you're alive. It's sensory or it's affective. Sensory pain has to do with nerve endings and inflammation. Affective pain is where the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex of your brain says, you don't like that. And that can come from somebody rejecting you just as much as it can come from touching a hot stove. Those two parts go together, they can be separated. But the whole point is that those parts of pain have kept you alive. Pain is your friend because it's a signal. That's something you need to pay attention to. Suffering isn't the same thing as pain. Suffering equals your pain multiplied by your resistance to your pain. And that's what you learn, which a lot of people tell me they learn because I've never taken psychedelics. when they take psychedelics. And that's what I learned through my religion. And that's what I learned working with the Tibetan Buddhists, which I've
that's
done
what I was
over the
going to
past
say.
13
It's like
years.
significantly more Buddhist than Catholic.
Well, except that the Christian faith worships a man who didn't resist his pain. And so therefore was in bliss and union with God. His pain was enormous. His suffering was lower by the end because his resistance went away.
I think he was high on self-satisfaction. They don't know what they're. Forgive them, Father.
Was that
these animals don't?
Was that
even
a thunderclap
know
in the background for when Neal just said that?
These animals don't even. Oh, these low people.
But the whole point is
guy had a
we
superiority
need to
complex, and I'm sick of it. He needs his crosses. He needs his logo everywhere. Go ahead.
Feeling nervous here. This is even worse than talking about gender differences. Like instant cancellation. So most people don't need better technique at lowering pain. They need to learn to lower the resistance to pain. So even when pain is inevitably high, suffering isn't. My mother-in-law, when she was dying, I was very close to my mother-in-law. I was closer to her than I was to my own mother. She lived her whole life.
Your mom loved that. Go ahead.
She died young. My mother-in-law did in 93. And so I knew her a lot better too. And, I've been living off and on in Barcelona for the past 35 years. And so and she was 93 years old and she'd been bedridden for a bunch of years. And she was super happy, even though she was in constant physical pain, because she was non-resistant to it. She understood the nature of actually what it meant. And again, there are times when you need to lower the pain. There are times when things actually hurt and you should take an analgesic. Take some Tylenol. Don't be an idiot. I got it. Or if somebody's hurting you, then get away from the person who's hurting you. Abuse is no good. But there are times when you can't. There are times when life just dishes it out. And under those circumstances, you have to have the wherewithal. You have to have the inner strength, the inner equanimity to be able to say, okay, non-resistance. And that's when you said, I need to embrace this thing because you were in a state of profound non-resistance. You wanted to understand exactly what it meant because you could, because your pain was high and you wanted to hold it and understand it because your resistance was low and so therefore your suffering was not unbearable in those moments.
And then where's that become masochism?
Well, that can become masochism when you actually want the pain.
Because, by the way,
I want
that
pain.
church you go to is full of masochists.
Dude, try it again. You got to come back. Come back again, with an open-minded heart.
I just don't. It's like Irish. I know it.
I know you've suffered. I know you've suffered.
No. I'm not even saying like suffered. I'm just saying the martyrdom.
Yeah.
Is the.
Yeah,
Buddhism's the only religion with no martyrs.
Yeah, no, but part of it is also finding your way toward an adult understanding of a very, very complex phenomenon, like any faith, as opposed to the third grade version that was ingrained into us that doesn't make sense. This is one of the reasons that people in their 40s and 50s are more likely to be more religious than people in their 20s and 30s, because you get to the point where you're your age or 10 years older, my age, and you're like, yeah, well, nothing makes sense.
Right.
It's like,
why not get something from it?
Newsflash.
Why not get invited to the after party?
And life is messy.
It's all nonsense.
This book of Job in the Bible is all about like, I did everything right and you made me suffer. Why? And God's answer to Job in the whirlwind, he gets to talk. Job puts God in the dock in chapter 38 of Job. It's like, you killed all my livestock and I was your boy. I did everything right. And you're throwing dice with Satan?
Yeah.
And you say that you're going to do all these terrible things to me and I'm going to keep with the faith. It's like, that's not right. And God said, he says, tell me why. And God says this. He says, well, sure. Of course I'll tell you why. You're so smart. I'll tell you exactly why you suffered. As soon as you tell me why I put the stars in the sky. You're so smart, you must know. The truth is, it's a mystery. This is a mystery. And you're comfortable with that mystery when you have the open aperture of the psychedelic experience. The mystery is like, yeah. I am open to this mystery. Whereas most of the time we're like, no, it doesn't make sense. I don't like it.
My psychedelic experience is more, it's so
I'm
massive.
Telling you, I haven't done it. So
my psychedelic experience is, you're not off. It's just more awareness.
Yeah.
And it's like not even really like capturable in narrative. It's not like, oh, and then this happened. It's not. There's no parables. There's no.
Yeah. As an observer, it's easy.
Yeah. No. Again, that's my issue with whatever. I'm really not mad at any religion because I think it's all the same thing. I think it's regional. I think it's
But we're all dealing with a lot of pain. We're all dealing with a lot of pain. And a lot of that, the things that we can change, we should change. But the divine will in every religion is the whole idea of not just giving in to the divine will, but embracing the divine will. Thy will be done, not mine. In almost every religion, that's lowering resistance such that you can actually bear up under the suffering. And where the suffering itself that it still exists is a profound source of meaning.
What do you tell yourself in moments of suffering?
In moments of suffering, ordinarily, I have to diagnose whether or not I'm resisting. The first thing I ask is, okay, what are you resisting? See, here's the thing. Super strivers, your audience, people who really want to taking a big bite out of life, they have this superstitious belief, generally speaking, that if I worry about things that I can't actually change, I'll somehow change. If I worry enough, if I'm anxious enough, I'll be able to change the gears in the universe. If I'm concerned enough about this thing that I actually can't change, and they feel irresponsible, almost bereft, if they're not giving enough mental energy to it. And that's just another form of resistance. I do that all the time. And that's
you're looking. The one of the things I regret most is worry.
Yeah,
for sure. You don't change anything.
And so that's one of the things that I do. So when I'm actually suffering a lot, I say, okay, I know there's a source of pain, but what I need to examine is my resistance to that pain. What am I doing with respect to my resistance to that pain? And that's where the expertise actually comes in. That's really very interesting. That's why I've written about different ways to alleviate anxiety, not by eradicating the anxiety, but understanding the biological basis of it. Being able to change how you deal with it by lowering your resistance in very, very organic and natural ways. And that's the first thing that I do when my suffering is high. I stare right at my resistance and go, what am I doing wrong here?
So you just turn from the pain to the resistance?
Well, I sometimes do take Advil.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not. You don't worry about the actual problem. You worry about your interpretation of it.
Yeah. I mean, I do try to solve the problem when I can. And when I can't, I try to stop resisting.
Don't solve them.
It's not my problem.
Do not solve your wife's problem.
Well, in a way, see, that's funny because that's your marriage is a problem you can't solve because your marriage is a complex right hemispheric problem.
That's so fucking funny. That a marriage...
You can't solve
a problem you can't
solve. You can only live with it and understand. And by the way, that's why you love your marriage, because you can't solve it like you can fix your car. That's the difference between...
It's a détente.
You'll never solve your cat. You could solve a mechanical cat, but a mechanical cat won't satisfy you like a real cat.
My wife loves cats.
Does she?
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason she loves cats is because they don't have solution, because they're alive, because they satisfy something in the right hemisphere of her brain. And you could give her a mechanical cat and she wouldn't like it. And that's what a lot of the modern world is doing. It's giving us a bunch of mechanical cats when we want real cats. It's giving us solutions, AI, the internet, Googleable questions. And what we really want is to live with and sit with the things that we can't solve. We can only love.
My wife had questions. I know we got to wrap up. Arthur says that love requires will, not just feeling.
Yeah.
But we built an entire therapeutic culture around emotional authenticity as the arbiter of relational validity.
Yeah.
If it feels wrong, it is wrong. How do you argue against that to someone or people who've been doing it for 20 years?
They were lied to. You're not your feelings. You're a person with feelings. And the truth is your feelings are liars. Sometimes they're not lying, but they lie a lot. Why? Because they send an alarm up.
Assume that they're lying.
Yeah, I mean, you should at least be open to the idea that they're lying. You should always be very suspicious of your feelings. Your feelings will tell you that if that person leaves you, you're going to die and you're never going to find happiness ever again. That's a straight up lie. The reason for that is because that part of your limbic system of your brain makes you very averse to being abandoned. You have to be averse to being abandoned. Otherwise, you'd be friendless, divorced, and fired within a week because you'd say everything that you think. It's a self-defense mechanism, is that belief that you're actually going to die if that person leaves you. That lie actually keeps you alive. But that lie is also holding you back. And that's the kind of skepticism that you actually need.
There's billions of people that would fight you on that.
I know.
That my feelings are not.
I know.
I think that people think their feelings are like
the most authentic
from
thing.
God.
They're the most real thing. They're not. That's the limbic system of your brain produces the emotions in your head, which are a physiological phenomenon that's telling you that there's a threat or an opportunity that you have perceived at the very, very primal level, with, you know, that you perceived through the most reptilian parts of your brain in the back of your head. They send signals saying threat or opportunity. These are translated into emotions that are positive or negative, saying approach or avoid. That's what it is. That's what your emotions are. They're very important pieces of information, but don't take them, you shouldn't take them more seriously than you do CNN. They might be right, they might be wrong.
Yeah, but but people use them for advantage.
They misuse their emotions.
For selfish reasons.
People
basically.
also trust the news. Ooh, I got political. Oops.
Everybody knows you're Republican.
I'm not a Republican. I've been an independent since I was a lad.
That's a podcast for Republican. Independent. That's in Hollywood. They say I'm a libertarian.
Sure you are. That's right.
Sure you are, Vince Vaughn.
You're Reaganite.
What's the most important thing your happiness research tells us about romantic love that the self-help industry is actively suppressing? Probably similar to the other answer, but
yeah. So that's a good one, because we're about to do this big marriage retreat, and there's a lot that actually goes into it. That men and women want the same thing. That men and women actually want the same thing.
That's the lie.
That's the
men
lie.
And women want
that
the same
more
thing.
and more and more people are actually telling you, and that's a myth propagated by, women thinking that men are just fundamentally masculine women, and men thinking that women, they just want lots and lots and lots of sex, but they're repressed, and that they're just feminine men. And men and women are, one of the most beautiful things in life is that we're different.
Yeah.
Not that we're secretly the same.
Gary Shandling one time said, they're not just different, they're the opposite sex.
Yeah.
It's not just different. The opposite of what you are.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing, because we want to be completed, not copied. You should want to be completed. And you can only be completed by people who are not you. You can't be completed by something that you already have.
Do you think people know the ways in which they want to be completed?
No. And that's one of the things that you learn through the voyage, the journey, the adventure.
The unsolvable problem.
Yeah.
Marriage. Most relationship advice is essentially conflict resolution jargon.
Yeah.
But you seem to be saying something more radical, that the goal isn't a relationship where you fight better. It's a relationship organized around something beyond the two of you.
Yeah. I believe that you should want your marriage to be an antenna to the divine. That's not just getting to the line of scrimmage. And so very few people actually go to marriage counselors and say, this marriage is great, we just want it to be more than great. They say we have a problem. I mean, you don't go to a cardiologist and say the old ticker's doing great.
Yeah.
You say, I think I have a problem.
You do if you're very rich. But yeah.
Very, very rich. I like go to the Mayo Clinic for a once over. But that's not typically what we do. We think of the entire therapeutic industrial complex as being remediation. And that's the wrong way to think about that. That's the wrong way to think about the relationship. There are a lot of couples who are just fine, but it can be great. So, protocols, eye contact, tons and tons and tons of eye contact will get you down the field. Having more fun, praying together, or reading together.
I've heard you say praying together.
Or reading together. Does the same thing.
Are you dividing and conquering what you're praying for? Like, hey, you pray for...
No, it's basically, it sort of depends on what tradition you come from.
Right.
So people meditate together. People will actually pray the rosary together like my wife and I do. People will read to each other. It does much the same thing. And then touching, even when you don't want to be touching. Men need that more than women do, and they don't know it. Women need more eye contact, and men don't know that either. They'll forget to look at their spouse in the eyes. Eyes, eye contact. And that women have 3 times as much oxytocin, blood circulating oxytocin, as men do, which means they need more sources of oxytocin. A lot of it comes from eye contact with somebody that you actually love. The best way that men can make a good marriage great is every time you talk to her, you're staring at her in the eyes. Not in a creepy way. It's going to freak her out at first. But she's going to be like, I don't know why, but I just feel like we're so much closer.
You fool.
But there's a whole bunch of things that you can actually do that are like free, man.
Yeah.
They're not $100 an hour. That's not that there's anything wrong with a great therapist either. But the whole point is, think about it as the gym, not as physical therapy. Think about all the things that you do to actually get
Right.
stronger,
Preventative and
healthy,
not-
and feeling better.
Yeah.
And preventative too.
Well,
But not even
preventative
thinking
and
about
or
problems.
just like, you
And then
wanna
if
get
you're
the guns out.
if you are it's like my wife couldn't care less. I'm like, huh? What? So think about if you're at all religious, think about your marriage as a connection to God. And then the reason that that's really important is because when you don't love her, you're denying her God's love, and vice versa. And then the stakes are higher and more beautiful and just more wonderful.
I don't think I have any further questions.
You rest your case?
I rest your case, Your Honor. The prosecution rests. It was great, man. I really
This is a
appreciate
good show.
It's
a good show. You're doing a good job.
This isn't even really the format, but we did it for you. I appreciate the stuff that you can do. Have things that I've heard.
Yeah.
And going like, okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
So you're helping.
Thank you. Thank
So
you. You are too. You make me laugh a lot.
Get your plumage out. I hope you feel full because it's helpful.
Thank you. I love
eye
it.
contact.
It's like thank you. You're like staring at her when you're talking to her. Dude, like, why are you looking at me?
Eye contact.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then as long as when you're sitting together on the couch watching TV, she should always have her hand on you.
I agree with. I think I'm like people think I'm too touchy.
Yeah.
People
But
think
she
I'm
needs
too
to touch
touchy.
you. She needs to touch you, unbidden, non-sexual touch. Sexual touch.
Can I grab her? I mean,
You can, except that it's just like I want you. So I'd say to her, I want you to touch me more. I want you to touch me more. When we're walking, I want you to take my hand. When we're sitting on the couch, I want you to touch. I want you to have your hand on my arm or on my hand or on my leg. I want you to be touching me. I need you to touch me more.
ArthurBrooks.com. It's $15. It's fine. You got it. You got this.
The website itself is free, by the way, like most of the internet.
Yeah.
Tons of resources on there. Lots of tests to take that are free and all kinds of cool stuff.
Arthur Brooks. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.